Borderline personality disorder, or BPD, is a mental illness that severely impacts a person's ability to manage their emotions. This loss of emotional control can increase impulsivity, affect how a person feels about themselves, and negatively impact their relationship with others. Effective treatments are available that can help people manage their symptoms of borderline personality disorder. Some celebrities with borderline personality disorder include Pete Davidson, my absolute favorite, huge crush on you, Pete Davidson, Britney Spears, Amy Winehouse, Catherine Zeta-Jones, and Jim Carrey. Ernest Hemingway and Vincent van Gogh also had borderline personality disorder. One of my oldest and best friends, Jessica Jordan, suffers from borderline personality disorder. This is Jess Faulkner, and you're listening to Just Jess. Guys, I've enjoyed my 2 weeks off, and I'm glad to be back. Some updates, though. My platelet count has gone up over 250,000 points. So they've upped my chemotherapy. They've doubled my chemotherapy. And that's where I'm at right now. I don't feel great. I'm very tired. I might take some more time off because I'm exhausted until they can figure all of this out. Dakota, my brother Dakota, Coda's Calamity, and I wrote a song together, and I am quite excited about that. We will be releasing that on Spotify once it's finished, and I will share it with you guys. Now it is satire, at least my part is satire, but my brother is actually a rapper. That's what he does professionally, is he raps. So my part is satire. His part is probably amazing because he is a lyricist genius. He is amazing, an amazing lyricist. And I hope you guys will enjoy it. I'm going to be taking another week off here shortly next week because I'm going to go to Oklahoma City to go see my dad. So I won't be here next week, but I may also not be here the week after that because I may treat myself to a Mother's Day present and go to New York City. I think that's what I might do, because my first time in New York City was absolutely dreadful. So I would really like to remake that whole situation and make it a positive one instead of the terribly negative one that it is. I've been in a great mood lately. I've been making new friends, and it has been I think it's been really great for me. Just getting out there and seeing the city and meeting new people and making new friends and all of that. It's been a really great time. I did karaoke again the other night with a new friend. Never did I think that I'd be singing Gretchen Wilson for karaoke, especially a song I don't know the words to, but I was quickly told in a loud voice, "Read the screen." So I did. But it was a lot of fun, and I would definitely do it again. I sang multiple songs, and it was a blast. Guys, I had so much fun. I've been having so much fun now that I'm exploring my city and meeting new people and making friends. I am just a outgoing person, and I miss that part of me, that outgoing part of me that came so easily when I worked customer service. I just miss me, and I also have been taking better care of myself. I've been watching what I eat, and I signed up for some yoga classes that I've been going to, and I'm going to start going to the gym at dinner time. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. And I have to thank Charlie for a lot of that, because Charlie is in such good shape, even though Charlie couldn't beat me in an arm wrestling match, but don't tell him I told you. Even though Charlie's in such great shape, I still beat him in an arm wrestling match, but because he's in such great shape, I really want to be in better shape too. And Charlie's just such a huge inspiration to me. Charlie's bipolar, and he is just really kicking ass right now at how well he is doing. He's going to therapy, he's taking his meds, he's being a great dad, he's getting his son into therapy, he's doing all the right things, and I'm just so proud of him. And I hope that's not an overshare, Charlie. Oh my gosh, I hope that's not an overshare, but I just want people to know how proud I am of you. Because I am. I'm proud of you. Keep it up. Keep it up, kid. Okay, guys. I don't really have a title for this episode, so the title of this episode is going to be Episode 13. Let's get back into it. People with borderline personality disorder may experience intense mood swings and feel uncertainty about how they see themselves. Their feelings for others can change quickly and swing from extreme closeness to extreme dislike. These changing feelings can lead to unstable relationships and emotional pain. People with borderline personality disorder also tend to view things in extremes, such as all good or all bad. Their interests and values can change quickly, and they may act impulsively or recklessly. Other signs and symptoms may include efforts to avoid real or perceived abandonment, such as plunging headfirst into relationships or ending them just as quickly. A pattern of intense and unstable relationship with family, friends, and loved ones. A distorted and unstable self-image or sense of self. Impulsive and often dangerous behaviors such as spinning sprees, unsafe sex, substance misuse, reckless driving, and binge eating. However, if these behaviors happen mostly during times of elevated mood or energy, they may be symptoms of having a mood disorder and not borderline personality disorder. Self-harming behaviors such as cutting. Recurring thoughts of suicidal behaviors or threats. Intense and highly variable moods, with episodes lasting from a few hours to a few days. Chronic feelings of emptiness. Inappropriate, intense anger or problems controlling anger. Feelings of disassociation, such as feelings cut off from oneself, observing oneself from outside one's body, or feelings of unreality. Not everyone with borderline personality disorder will experience all of these symptoms. The severity, frequency, and duration of symptoms depend on the person and their illness. People with borderline personality disorder have a significantly higher rate of self-harming and suicidal behavior than the general population. Studies suggest that genetic, environmental, and social factors may increase the likelihood of developing borderline personality disorder. These factors may include having a family history. People who have a close family member, such as a parent or sibling with the illness, may be more likely to develop borderline personality disorder due to the shared genetic factors. Brain structure and function. Research shows that people with borderline personality disorder may have structural and functional changes in the brain, especially in areas that control impulses and emotional regulation. However, it is not clear whether these changes led to the disorder or were caused by the disorder. Environmental, cultural, and social factors. Many people with borderline personality disorder report having experienced traumatic life events, such as abuse, abandonment, or hardship during childhood. Others may have experienced unstable, invalidating relationships or conflicts. A licensed mental health professional, such as a psychiatrist, psychologist, or clinical social worker, can diagnose borderline personality disorder based on a thorough evaluation of a person's symptoms, experiences, and family medical history. A careful and thorough medical exam can help rule out other possible causes of symptoms. Borderline personality disorder is often diagnosed in late adolescence or early adulthood. However, people younger than 18 may be diagnosed with borderline personality disorder if their symptoms are significant and last at least 1 year. There are other illnesses that can co-occur with borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder often occurs with other mental illnesses, such as post-traumatic stress disorder. These co-occurring disorders can make it harder to correctly diagnose and treat borderline personality disorder, especially when the disorders have overlapping symptoms. For example, a person with borderline personality disorder may also be more likely to experience symptoms of major depression, PTSD, bipolar disorder, anxiety disorders, substance abuse disorder, or eating disorders. With evidence-based treatment, many people with borderline personality disorder experience fewer and less severe symptoms, improved functioning, and better quality of life. It is important for people with borderline personality disorder to receive treatment from a licensed mental health professional. It can take time for symptoms to improve after treatment begins. It is important for people with borderline personality disorder and their loved ones to be patient, stick with the treatment plan, and seek support during treatment. Some people with borderline personality disorder may need intensive, often inpatient care to manage severe symptoms, while others may be able to manage their symptoms with outpatient care. Psychotherapy is the main treatment for people with borderline personality disorder. Psychotherapy is also called talk therapy. Most psychotherapy occurs with a licensed, trained mental health professional in one-on-one sessions or with other people in group settings. Group settings can help people with borderline personality disorder learn how to interact with others and express themselves effectively. Dialectic behavioral therapy was developed specifically for people with borderline personality disorder. DBT uses concepts of mindfulness or awareness of one's present situation and emotional state. DBT also teaches skills to help people manage intense emotions, reduce self-destructive behaviors, and improve relationships. Cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, can help people with borderline personality disorder identify and change core beliefs and behaviors that come from inaccurate perceptions and problems interacting with others. CBT may help people reduce mood swings and anxiety symptoms and may reduce the number of self-harming or suicidal behaviors. The benefits of mental health medications for borderline personality disorder are unclear, and medications aren't typically used as the main treatment for the illness. In some cases, a psychiatrist may recommend medications to treat specific symptoms or co-occurring mental disorders such as mood swings or depression. Treatment with medication may require coordinated care among several healthcare providers. Medications can sometimes cause side effects in some people. You should talk to your healthcare provider about what to expect from a particular medication, as side effects can be messy. More research is needed to determine how well family therapy helps with borderline personality disorder. Studies on other mental disorders show that including family members can help support a person's treatment. Families and caregivers also can benefit from therapy. Family therapy helps by allowing people to develop skills to understand and support a loved one with borderline personality disorder, and focus on the needs of family members to help them understand the obstacles and strategies for caring for their loved one. If you're not sure where to get help, a healthcare provider can refer you to a licensed mental health professional, such as a psychiatrist or psychologist with experience treating borderline personality disorder. Here are some ways to help a friend or family member with borderline personality disorder. Take time to learn about the illness to understand what your friend or relative is experiencing. Offer emotional support, understanding, patience, and encouragement. Change can be difficult and frightening to people with borderline personality disorder, but things can improve over time. Encourage your loved one in treatment for borderline personality disorder to ask about family therapy. Seek counseling for yourself. Choose a different therapist than the one your relative is seeing. I know as a person that suffers from a serious mental illness, I feel like loving me is hard. Being bipolar, I feel like Josh is often watching my roller coaster rides with dramatic ups and downs, but from afar. Caring about someone with borderline personality disorder tosses you on a roller coaster ride from being loved and lauded to abandoned and bashed. Having borderline personality disorder is no picnic either. You may live in unbearable psychic pain much of the time. Your illness may distort your perceptions, causing antagonistic behavior and making the world feel like a perilous place. The pain and terror of abandonment and feeling unwanted may feel daunting. For the partner, things will almost never be calm. Following a passionate and immediate beginning, a stormy relationship often emerges that includes accusations, anger, jealousy, bullying, control, and breakups due to the person's insecurity. Nothing is gray or gradual. For people with BPD, things are black and white. They have the quintessential Jekyll and Hyde personality, fluctuating dramatically between idolizing and devaluing you. They may suddenly and sporadically shift throughout the day. You never know what or whom to expect. People with borderline personality disorders' intense emotions elevate you when you're in good spirits and crush you when you're not. You're a prince or a princess, a bastard or a bitch. If you're on the outs with them, all their bad feelings get projected onto you. They can be vindictive and punish you with their words, silence, or other tactics, which feels manipulative and can be very destructive to your self-esteem. Unlike bipolar disorder, their moods shift quickly and aren't a departure from their normal self. What you see is their norm. Their brains heighten the intensity and negativity of their perceptions and feelings. Their emotions, behavior, and unstable relationships, including work history, reflect a fragile, shame-based self-image, often marked by sudden shifts, sometimes to the extent that they feel non-existent. It's all made worse when they're alone, thus they're dependent on others. They may seek advice frequently, sometimes from several people on the same day, asking the same question. They react to profound fears of abandonment with needy and clingy behaviors, or alternate with anger and fury that reflect their own skewed reality and self-image. They're desperate to be loved and cared for, yet are hypervigilant for any real or imagined signs of rejection or abandonment should you, for example, be late, cancel an appointment, or talk to someone they see as competition. For them, trust is always an issue, often leading to distortions of reality and paranoia. You're seen as either for or against them and must take their side. Don't dare to defend their enemy or try to justify or explain any slight they claim to have experienced. They may try to bait you into anger, then falsely accuse you of rejecting them. They may gaslight you to make you doubt reality and your sanity, even try to brainwash you. In their desperation for caring, they often behave in ways that feel like emotional manipulation and abuse. Cutoffs of friends and relatives who betray them is common. Although they try to create an intimate romantic merger that is seductive to those unaware, they equally fear it because they're often afraid of being dominated or swallowed up by too much intimacy. In a close relationship, they must walk a tightrope to balance the fear of being alone or being too close. To do so, they can manipulate and control with commands or indirect maneuvers, including flattery and seduction, to reel in their partner and use their anger and rejection to keep him or her at a safe distance. Whereas narcissists enjoy being understood, too much understanding frightens the borderline. Because people with borderline personality disorder are dependent, they find someone to merge with to help them. They seek a person who can provide stability and to balance their changeable emotions. Narcissists and people who act self-sufficient and in control of their feelings provide a perfect match. They're easily seduced by the borderline's extreme openness, charm, and vulnerability. In addition, the borderline's passion and intense emotions are enlivening to non-borderline personality disorder people who find being alone depressing or healthy people boring. These partners vicariously come alive through the melodrama provided by the borderline person. The borderline person may appear to be more dependent underdog in the relationship, while his or her partner is the steady, needless, and caretaking top dog. But in fact, both are dependent on each other. It can be hard for either of them to leave. They each exercise control in different ways. Their partners are often codependent individuals who also yearn for love and fear abandonment. They already have low self-esteem and poor boundaries, so they placate, accommodate, and apologize when attacked in order to maintain the emotional connection in the relationship. Partners can become emotional caretakers. They do so sometimes to the point of self-sacrifice or enabling. In the process, partners give over more and more control to the borderline person and further seal their low self-esteem and the couple's dependency. Placating the borderline person and giving them control does not make either partner feel more safe, but the opposite. People with borderline personality disorder need to feel loved and in control. They need boundaries. Setting a boundary can sometimes snap them out of their delusional thinking. Calling their bluff is also helpful. Both strategies require that their partner build their self-esteem, learn to be assertive, and derive outside emotional support. The relationship can see improvement when the partner takes steps to heal themselves and change their behavior. Like all personality disorders, borderline personality disorder exists on a continuum from mild to severe. It affects women more than men and about 2% of the U.S. population. Borderline personality disorder is usually diagnosed in young adults when there has been a pattern of impulsivity and instability in relationships, self-image, and emotions. They may use alcohol, food, or drugs, or other addiction to try to self-medicate their pain, but it only exacerbates it. To diagnose borderline personality disorder, at least 5 of the following symptoms must be enduring and present in a variety of areas. 1. Frantic efforts to avoid real or imagined abandonment. 2. Unstable and intense personal relationships, marked by alternating idealization and devaluation. 3. Persistently unstable sense of self. 4. Risky, potentially self-damaging impulsivity in at least 2 areas, such as substance abuse, reckless behavior, reckless sex, spending too much money. 5. Recurrent self-mutilation or suicidal threats or behaviors. This doesn't qualify for number 1 or 4. 6. Mood swings, such as depression, irritability, and anxiety, not lasting more than a few days. 7. Chronic feelings of emptiness. 8. Frequent, intense, inappropriate temper or anger. 9. Transient, stress-related paranoid thoughts or severe dissociative symptoms. If you or someone you know is struggling or having thoughts of suicide, call or text the 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline at 988 or chat at 988lifeline.org. In life-threatening situations, please call 911. There's something that I want to talk about concerning borderline personality disorder that may not be talked about or people may not know much about, and it's called borderline personality disorder splitting. Borderline personality disorder splitting is a symptom of borderline personality disorder. Splitting means a person is unable to hold opposing thoughts and concludes that someone or something is entirely good or entirely bad. Splitting is a symptom of borderline personality disorder. Borderline personality disorder is a distinct and disruptive disorder that severely affects a person's ability to regulate their emotions. With borderline personality disorder splitting, there is no middle ground. A person will view the nature of people and situations as either black or white, or all or nothing. An example is declaring a romantic interest, my future partner, but after the romantic interest is rebuffed, declaring I wasn't interested anyways. With BPD splitting, the turnaround is about more than just saving face. It's an unconscious or unintentional reframing of how a person views a situation that turns uncomfortable or uncertain. Splitting is an extreme behavior, interfering not only with relationships, but with a person's sense of well-being. Although people will sometimes casually claim that a person has a borderline personality disorder is more than just a personality trait. BPD is a mental health condition that is diagnosed based on specific criteria outlined in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, or the DSM-5. Splitting is a defense mechanism in which a person goes between extremes of idealization and devaluation. Splitting is normal behavior in younger children who are not able to grasp how complex relationships or situations are, and instead simply categorize them as being either bad or good. Splitting is a defense mechanism that helps children cope better. However, if childhood development is disrupted by something like emotional trauma, a person may hold on to this defense mechanism as they grow up. As an adult, they will be unable to find a middle ground between idealization and devaluation. Splitting can also occur in people living with narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD. Splitting is characterized by a rapid, extreme change in how a person or a situation is perceived. The perception may go back and forth between good and bad, or remain static once the altered perception is declared. In the first situation, the switch is often referenced by the action of the other person. For example, a person with borderline personality disorder might say that a person finally came to their senses, or I finally found out the truth about a person, rather than considering whether the change in their perception of this person might have been unreasonable. In the second situation, a person with BPD may idealize a person only to devalue them and never go back. This inflexibility may serve as proof that the decision was right or even righteous. Some other signs of BPD splitting include habitually making snap judgments about people or situations, having absolute certainty that the perception is not correct, rapidly switching to the polar opposite view with the same level of certainty, craving attention and needing frequent reassurance from idolized people, punishing idolized people who do not give them the attention or reassurances they seek, such as with angry outbursts or the silent treatment. Describing things in absolutes, such as they never do anything right, or they always do things to perfection. Using extreme words to describe people or situations, such as angelic or evil, genius or moron, or ravishing or hideous. Expecting others to choose sides when a person or situation is devalued. Shutting down or feeling attacked when others don't share those perceptions. There are some triggers for BPD splitting. Splitting is triggered by anything that causes a person with BPD to take an extreme emotional viewpoint. The trigger could be something that seems harmless or innocent, but is enough to spur emotions that a person with BPD is not able to handle. The triggers for splitting with BPD are more or less the same as those for children or people with narcissistic personality disorder. Splitting is a defense mechanism used to counter emotions a person with BPD cannot control. Splitting is a way of avoiding, deflecting, or sidestepping the feelings that are a big part of living with borderline personality disorder, including a low or an unstable self-image, chronic feelings of emptiness, a lack of self-direction, ambition, or goals, a general lack of empathy for others, hypersensitivity and constantly feeling insulted, impulsivity and acting without thought to positive or negative things, risk-taking when distressed without regards for the consequences, intense but unstable relationships marked by mistrust, a preoccupation with unpleasant experiences in the past or the possibility of negative ones in the future. Any event or action that triggers these emotions, whether it's perceived or real, can trigger splitting in someone living with BPD. Splitting can cause distress in relationships for people with BPD and their loved ones in a few ways. It can cause stress related to the constant need for reassurance. It can lead to codependency between the person with BPD and the person they think is perfect. It can leave the idealized partner on edge if they feel mistrust or worry that the person with BPD could suddenly change their opinion of them. It can make a person with BPD vulnerable to harm if they're unaware to see warning signs of danger in a person that they believe is infallible. Some people have relationships that just last a few weeks or months, while other people living with BPD have relationships that last years or even decades, though the relationship may have cycled through periods of breaking up or getting back together. A small 2014 study on groups of women living with BPD looked at how long their relationships were on average. In the first group, the women were all married or living with a partner. The average length of their relationship was about 7 years. In the second group, the average length of relationship for women living with BPD who were married was about 4 years and about 2 years for people who were not married. While the study did not look at how long BPD relationships lasted on average, it was limited because it used different groups of patients, and most of the patients included were white women. So it's not clear how well these averages reflect the experience of other people living with BPD. There's no specific treatment for BPD splitting. Splitting is addressed as part of a treatment plan for BPD that involves psychotherapy and sometimes medication. In severe cases, inpatient treatment for care under a psychiatrist is needed. Types of psychotherapy that can help people with BPD splitting include dialectical behavior therapy, or DBT, used to help people regulate emotional responses. Mentalization-based treatment, or MBT, used to help people recognize how thoughts and feelings are linked to behaviors. Group therapy, used to help people learn to interact with others with empathy and gain awareness of their responses. Transference-focused psychotherapy, or TFP. It uses a person's split-off emotional parts. Some people with BPD take medications to help them manage the conditions such as antidepressants, antipsychotics, anti-anxiety drugs, and mood stabilizers. With time and the appropriate treatment, people with BPD can reduce the severity of their symptoms and lessen the negative impact splitting has on the relationship and lives. Time for some updates. I am in a lot of pain. I stay in pain and leg pain. I wish you could understand the pain that I'm in. It's called neuropathic pain, and it's nerve damage in my legs, and it causes extreme, sharp pain, constant pain in my legs that sometimes has a very hard shooting, sharp feeling in my knees and down my thighs. And at times it's pretty unbearable. It's pretty unbearable at times. My plants are doing really well. I'm very proud of how well I've been taking care of these plants. I think I'm doing a great job. They're all thriving. None of them have died. I water them regularly, and they all look so great. And I love my office space. Honestly, in such a weird way, I wish I could share my space with you guys. I wish you could come and get the peace that I get from my space with all my plants. It's very peaceful at my office, in my office, at my desk, because I'm surrounded by life and I truly just enjoy it so much. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie. It's 11 o'clock and I'm already drinking wine because it's Sunday. I don't know what that has to do with anything. There we go. So I'm drinking this wine called Kung Fu Girl. It's a Riesling. It was made in Washington State, and it's one that I used to drink. It's one I've been drinking for over a decade. I mean, I've been drinking it since I was too young to drink. So it's really tasty. If you get a chance to try it, it's called Kung Fu Girl. It's a Riesling. It's delicious. Don't judge me for drinking before 5 o'clock. I just said I'm in a lot of leg pain. Give me a break. So Josh and the kids went to church today. I thought that was pretty interesting. I really love the fact that we come from such different backgrounds and we believe such different things, and it still works for us. When we got together, I was a Christian. I believed in God. We went to church together. Josh and I went to a church together one time to try to find a church to start going to. And that church didn't work out for me. And the more life I experienced, the more I was able to grow in a safe environment. The more I was able to grow in a safe environment, the one that my husband helps provide, the more progressive I become. Like when Josh and I got together, I was pro-life because I couldn't imagine myself having an abortion. But then after 2 very difficult pregnancies, which I've talked about on this podcast before, after both of my pregnancies, I was so scared of being pregnant a next time because I knew for a fact emotionally I wouldn't be able to be pregnant. And that's why I got my bilateral self-injectomy. I got my fallopian tubes just completely removed because I knew if I got pregnant, I would have to have an abortion. And it just changed my view on everything. Never in a million years did I think I'd be sitting here saying pro-choice this, pro-choice that, but here I am saying that it's a woman's choice, and who am I to say what a woman can or can't do with her own body? It's just how I feel about it now, I guess. Pro-choice. Don't tell me what I can and can't do with my own fucking body. Right? Right? I'm gonna go to Oklahoma City for a few days to go visit my dad. That'll be nice. He's gonna cook me some food, and I'm gonna cook him some food, and then he's gonna see how superior my food is. It'll be fun. He did say that he didn't want me to mention him in my podcast anymore, which I kind of understand, but, I don't say him by name, and I only talk about him in a positive way. I don't talk about him in a negative way, and I'm just kind of keep it real with how he is, and I keep it real with how I am, and, that's kind of what I share. It's just the realness between my dad and I, and hopefully, that doesn't upset him. So, Charlie will be here. Charlie will be here in just a couple days, and I am so excited. I cannot wait to see my amazing, wonderful friend Charlie. We're going to have such a good time. We're going to go to all the gay clubs that we can, and we're going to just really kind of queer it up, I think. Because I told him that I'm having a hard time connecting with my LGBTQIA plus family here. And I am, because, you know, I've talked to a couple people now, and they say things like, you know, I'm too afraid to come out in this town, or I'm out, but there's only like 3 of us who are out, and we're such a small community that we don't meet at public places. Like, we don't advertise when we're going places out of fear of what would happen. And that's bothersome. That's pretty fucking bothersome to me, I guess. The fact that people are living in fear to even like meet up, you know, that's just really sad. And I guess I understand, because I'd be afraid too. I mean, if I knew I lived in such a hateful place, I guess I haven't felt the hate here, but I haven't felt the inclusion here. Well, never mind. I did get called a faggot and a homo at Aldi. So that was kind of hateful, I guess. So maybe I do feel the hate a little. I guess I haven't really thought about that. But yes, Charlie will be here in a few days, and it's going to be wonderful. And then, oh, that's Charlie right now. Check my Snapchat with me. Okay, here we go. Snapchat, Charlie sent you a snap. Okay, let's see. Going out. Charlie's going out. Okay, sending Charlie a snap back. Here we go. Ready? I'm snapping you back, Charlie. I'm snapping you back, Charlie. I love you, Charlie. Have fun. Be safe. There we go. That's good. Charlie's in Colorado right now, and then Charlie will be here for a few days, and I'm so excited because I love Charlie so much. Charlie's my boyfriend, so says my mom. So that's a thing. I think that's it for updates, honestly. I don't know what else I have to share with you guys. I haven't been sleeping. I've been going to Waffle House, and I hop very early in the morning because I'm just not sleeping, and I'm bored out of my gourd. So I decided to go places, which I probably should not. Probably should not go places, but I do try. And then I come home and I go to sleep. I don't know, guys. I'm just not sleeping. And talking about it is making me sleepy, but I'm just not having a lot of success with sleeping right now. And I think it's because my numbers have gone up. Speaking of that, I have an appointment coming up soon to see exactly where I'm at. And I wouldn't be surprised if my numbers went up some more. So let's be prepared for that. Okay, all, and I think that's it for me today. Thank you for joining in. Thank you for listening to me ramble on about borderline personality disorder. Of course, you guys, please know that I am not a doctor. I am just providing you with some basic information. There's Charlie. I'm just providing you with some basic information, you know, about mental illness. So I can help educate you based on websites like the Mayo Clinic and health.com and places like that. I'm just trying to help educate you on mental health issues, and also to normalize talking about trauma and mental health. It should be a conversation we're having all the time, but we're not having it ever. And I don't understand why, because everybody struggles with mental health. Mental health impacts every single person. Every single person. Keep that in mind. I love you. Take care of each other. Take care of yourselves. I said that backwards.